This is the interrogation of Doris Moore, a.k.a. D.D. Moore, the Black Widow of Cannes. D.D. has been sentenced to life for murdering Abraham Shakespeare, the winner of the $30 million Florida lottery, and swindling his assets, including his $1.2 million home. D.D. filed an appeal in 2023, claiming that two key pieces of evidence were left out of her trial. This is the original interrogation. You be the judge. Is she guilty, and does she deserve an appeal?
All right. First things first. Okay, hear me out. You have been contacting Detective Wallace again. I guess last night you texted him or something saying you wanted to talk, you want to come back and talk. Obviously it was late. We had just spent 3 hours with you here. You pretty much invoke, hey, you can talk, I want to leave now. Hey, that's fine, whatever, leave. Okay, we're done with you tonight if you want to do that. You reinitiate contact with him saying that you want to come back in and talk to us. That's fine. I got no problem listening to you again, but you need to be aware of your Miranda. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. You need to be very aware of it. Do you understand? Before we do anything, before we do any talking, okay? If you agree to it, hang on. If you agree to it, we'll sit here and listen to what you got to say. All right? But don't waste our time anymore.
I'm not.
All right?
I'm not. Because
it's very hard to believe, some of the tales that you were telling last night and the previous however many times you had met with Detective Wallace and Clark.
I know.
So before anything else is said, there's a box here to be initialed by you, and I take it, you are educated at the with a BA or BS in Business Administration. Is that correct?
I don't know what it's called, but it's.
But you can read and write in English. Okay. You're not under the influence of anything. You didn't come in here after drinking.
I don't do drugs at all.
I have to clarify these things with you, okay?
What is this for?
This is a consent to be interviewed. You're giving us permission to talk to you. You reinitiated contact. You said you wanted to talk to us. We'll hear you out. But you need to be aware of this before we go any further.
Well, I'm going to be arrested anyway, so I might as well tell everything so that you can...
Well, let me explain this to you first, please, so I can get this procedure out of the way, okay? I, and then you would initial here, do hereby consent to being interviewed by the below-listed Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office law enforcement official concerning the above-listed incident, offense, and I further understand that, 1, I have the right to remain silent and can invoke this right at any time during questioning. Do you understand what that means? If I do make a statement, it can and will be used against me in a court of law. Do you understand what that means? 3, if I have the right to speak with and have an attorney present during questioning. Do you understand what that means? 4, if I cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to me without charge before any questioning if that is my desire. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
I wish to make any statement, I may invoke my right to an attorney or to remain silent at any time during the questioning. I understand these rights, and no one has threatened, coerced, or promised me anything in order to induce me to make a statement. I presently wish to make a statement and or answer questions without an attorney being present.
Yes.
Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
And you wish to speak to it? I have my pen on.
I got a pen.
Yeah, because I don't want innocent people arrested.
This is the box we're only concerned with. I just read to you. Initial in that box. I'm going to show you where to sign. Right here, subject line. Sign your name there.
Notice how D.D. is making promises that she will be truthful this time around, using the same apologetic tone as she does in the letter of repentance to the courts and Shakespeare's family after her life sentence. Quote, I'm truly sorry to the prosecutor, Abraham's mom, and others that I hurt for not being truthful. I regret my actions. End quote. Notice that she's not admitting to murdering Abraham, but rather apologizing for not being truthful and complicating the process.
Okay. Did you find the water or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Let me see if I can get one or something in a minute. I meant to get a big box of it coming in this morning, but it was before any of the stores had opened, so...
I'm going to tell you everything, and I'm not going to waste your time today.
Okay.
Okay? I promise.
Give me a minute.
I'm not going to waste your time.
There's your pen.
I'm not trying to be skeptical, but you know where I'm coming from.
I know,
Okay.
I know. No, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm done.
Grab a Let me grab a pen real quick.
You just
Bear
have
with
to
me for a
say.
second.
Do not, like I said, do not, because I may question you heavily, do not feel like I may not I will be coming at this as the mind of a prosecutor and defender, because it needs to hold water and it needs to be true. And, I've got 10 other interviews that have been BS flags all the way, okay? So if I start getting on to you, don't, just answer the question.
Okay.
Wait till he gets back here.
I'm gonna tell you everything. Tell you everything from the start.
And again, before you say anything, last night you were gonna tell us.
I know, but you were threatening me with.
No, I'm not, we weren't threatening you with anything. We were stating fact, okay?
Uh-huh.
And whatever you tell us, you gotta understand, you're gonna have to prove what is the truth to us.
Yeah.
And like I said, from our investigation, we know what the truth is gonna be.
Right.
So let's hear it.
But with James, I, was worried for him, and I knew the person that I keep keeping from you, I knew if I ever told them that I will definitely be under the jail, not in it, so, because they have a lot of involvement.
Okay.
Okay, first, when I met him, we
Dee Dee is attempting fruitlessly to convince the detectives that her involvement with Abraham was innocuous, and she intended to help him manage his money and to rescue him from the greed-driven friends and family who owed him hundreds of thousands of dollars, and was writing a book about his life.
I knew the person that I keep keeping from you, I knew if I ever told them that I will definitely be under the jail, not in it, so, because they have a lot of involvement.
Okay.
Okay, first, when I met him, we met, and I was writing my book, and he was just telling me all about his life, and he needed, then I found out that his house payment was negative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you want to go through all the little details, or?
Well, I mean.
Just so you have a brief, I'll give you a brief overview.
Yeah,
He was
I'll listen
negative
to
in
what
his house payment, so I went up to the
To the
bank.
one in Lakeland that
Yes,
you live in now?
Right, it had a house payment at Wachovia. So I went up to the bank and paid his house payment for him
Okay.
with my cash that I
When
had
was
in my
this?
bank.
Like, what month?
It's all in my checking account.
All right.
It was $6,988. So I paid his house payment and found out that he was having all these problems. He had a problem doing all his collections because no one would pay him back. Once he
Mhm.
gave the money, they wouldn't give him any. They would say, get the F off my property, threaten him and everything. So he was having a problem with doing that. So he had asked me about doing his collections for him. Judy started doing collections. He went around telling certain people, Judy would be doing the collections. He
Well,
said that
why
no one
would they
said
pay
that.
Judy versus him? I mean, did she have a better way of collecting money, or
Well,
what?
yeah, because they would give him a sob story.
Mhm.
They would say, oh, my electric's,
And she wouldn't
right,
put up with it?
right.
Okay.
My electric's
All right.
in,
All right, go on.
my kid's hurt, and I'm the same way. Every time, I would try, it would be like, I'd end up paying their electric bill.
At this juncture, Dee Dee attempts to persuade the detectives that she's a savior for Shakespeare, and out of the goodness of her heart, she hands over almost $7,000 to pay his delinquent mortgage.
Paid,
So you paid his mortgage payment?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Paid his mortgage payment and everything. Well, he was going through, that lawsuit with Michael Ford that was coming up, and his attorney had quit on him, Valenti, because for non-payment, and he would not pay Valenti the other $20,000 because he felt like Valenti was ripping him off. He already paid $850,000 to William Gary, and William Gary wouldn't, represent him anymore because the case was over. Well, they had rebutted.
Mhm.
So he had that problem going on in his life, and he started asking me on, the collections and stuff, if I would do it, and we'll work out something where, I get a nice percentage of it, because he doesn't get anything back at all. These people have lived rent-free for 2 years.
Mhm.
None of them have paid. He's got a house that, they've got a $200,000 house, and in 2 years, the people haven't paid one mortgage payment at all.
Mhm.
And so he said that we'd work something out and Tori wasn't going after, you know, a quarter of it or a regular child support. She wanted at least half because he was lying about what he had. He was lying about his assets. Well, further on in, I found that out.
Okay.
But anyways, he had these people that would threaten him and all, like Greg Massey was one of them that acts like he's his best friend on TV, which is hilarious because, you know, a lot of people know that that's not true. And that was one of the reasons why I was mad at Greg, because Greg acts like he's such a friend of his, but didn't even like him anymore because he took advantage of him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to take advantage of him. I know it looks like that, and I know you think that I'm a horrible person, I'm just as bad as the rest, but what he acted like to me, he was very giving to me, and I loved him for that. He was very nice and very giving. He turned over that $1 million because he felt like he was going to lose it anyways.
Okay.
He wanted me to invest in, no, I want you to know that, so you look at that
Okay,
prospect of
we've looked at a lot of stuff in
I
the
know.
last week, and they've looked at a lot of stuff in
I
the
know.
last 10 months,
I know.
okay? If that's your opinion of it, that's
Yeah.
fine. Our opinion will
I
probably
know.
be different, okay?
I know your
And that's
opinion's
neither
different,
here
but
nor there.
Can I?
But what I want to dig down to is how the man got killed and murdered on your property.
I know.
Okay, so
Well,
if
yeah,
you're
but
telling
you're
me that,
thinking
hang
that
on a minute, let me
motive-
finish.
Uh-huh.
If you're telling me he was very given to you, okay, so be it. He's
Yeah.
not going to be able to come out and tell us that
I
like
know
we
that,
went
but
into
there-
last night.
But I will love to give you names so that you can look the people up that know the truth, that know that he was like that. I have no motive. I have no reason. I cared about that man.
And how did he
I
get
had
killed? How and why?
Okay.
Notice the disconnect when she says, I cared about that man. Endeared friends are not referred to as that man. This spinner of yarns is weaving a web that will prove to be her undoing.
Okay, Howard was on cocaine drugs. He was on crack. The guy was blackmailing with a crack photo of him. He had it in the top drawer of his desk. I don't know if it's still there. You can look at his office and see if it's still there.
It was Stitzel's office?
Stitzel's office. Stitzel was doing all these transactions for us, doing all the paperwork and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I got upset because I didn't want all this in my name because I heard Tori was going to come after and sue me for trying to hide all his assets, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I had, you know, a disagreement there, whereas Howard says it's fine, you know, when I go to buy that other house, just put it in Char's name. I was being directed, you know, what to do to keep it safe by him. He's a lawyer. You trust him. You put your trust in a lawyer, you should, you know, have the trust. And that's what a lawyer's supposed to do. He's supposed to look out for your best benefit. Even with, if it's a lawyer, he's supposed to look out for, not for himself. Well, Howard come to me and he kept wanting more money, and then he started coming to for money. I didn't know he was using it for drugs.
When
gave
was
him a
Howard
$20,000.
coming? When was Howard coming after for more money? Like what time of year? And
It's all in my checkbook. You'll see checks written out to Howard. Howard's got
from
$20,000.
from your checking
Mhm.
account, which is really money, like from
Right.
what bank? Which banking institution?
The Bank of America one. I can show you the checks.
Is it the checks under one of your company names or under your name or what?
Like one of them's your LLC.
Okay.
He got a $20,000 check.
And that was paid to Stitzel?
Yeah. Howard says, well, to protect me, we'll write up a loan thing, you know, a loan paper saying it's, quote, a loan, you know. Howard has a loan that he pays back, but he never has the money paid back because he uses it all up. So I was thinking, how is he going through all this money? And I found out, me and got really upset with him. I went crying up to his office because really wanted Greg Massey sued. He was waiting and waiting for this man to be sued because...
By Stitzel?
Yes.
To draft up the paperwork?
Right, because he was supposed to sign this contract saying he's owed $310,000. Greg refused. Greg says, I'm not paying you.
Mm-hmm.
Was really upset about that. He was very distraught, saying that, you know, he feels like Greg took advantage of him. So Greg wanted me to start going over bank records at Wachovia and the other bank to see how many people stole from them, to see how much Greg had embezzled, because he felt like Greg embezzled, because as we went around checking with people, they were saying that Greg was getting cut off the top to get a loan for him. So like if you get a loan for $10,000, Greg would get, you know, $1,000 or $2,000 paid back to him for getting the loan for you. Like I'll get you a loan, you know, but I'm going to take some of the money back. So when we found that out, you know, felt like he was taken advantage of by Greg, and he wanted him in jail, not just, you know, get in his house. He wanted him in jail if we could find any type of embezzlement by him. So we started researching, went up to the bank, got all the little things. That's why I have all the yellow slips and all that. And he was...
Nothing about Dee Dee's version of what happened to the money is adding up. It sounds more like a version of Sopranos or some high-interest loan from Tony the Fish.
I talked to... was upset also about the other court cases that Howard was supposed to be taking. So I went up to Howard's office, and I was crying profusely. I went in there crying to him because he promised this man, and this man was upset and hurt that,
Do you remember when this was that you went into Howard's office and cried to him?
I don't know, you can look at my phone records. I had called him, and he wouldn't answer. There's a witness to that at that office. It was his old office on Alexander. There's a guy in the corner office to the left. I went and cried in his office. So this is before
Howard moved onto your property?
Right.
This is when he was on the old Alexander Street address?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's a guy that's in the left-hand corner office that'll say, I went in there crying to him. Well, when I was in there, I met Howard's drug dealer. He tells me about how he's went around there and threatened Howard. He'll break his kneecaps, he'll do this.
So this drug dealer starts telling you how he's threatening somebody?
Yeah, he tells me. He's got a strong-arm man there, and he says, you know, with Howard... if he owes you anything...
Were they expecting you to come there, or you said you went there to basically
see
cry
Howard.
and plead
right,
to Howard?
Right.
So this drug dealer, it's safe to say this drug dealer wasn't expecting you coming in there?
Oh, no, he wasn't expecting me
So
there, but I met him.
So why would this drug dealer with his strong arm start just telling you all this criminal activity?
Well, because we were talking about how Howard is, because he was telling me that he had a blackmail picture on Howard of smoking crack. He did. He said he had a picture of Howard with a crack pipe, and that he holds that over him, you know, because that could go out to the public. And he says, because he left me in jail. He says, I paid him money, and then he left me in jail and didn't give...
Dee Dee, stop it already. You have implicated the ex-girlfriend, the best friend, Howard, the crack-addicted attorney, and now the drug dealer. Everyone except herself, that is.
Me out of jail right away.
Was Howard sitting there when all this stuff was being discussed to you?
No.
Where was he at?
Howard was nowhere to be found. We were waiting for him. So we sat there...
In the lobby of his office, or what?
Yeah, in the lobby of his office. His office, like when the door was actually open to the little sitting area where the desk is. So me and him were sitting there talking. I could look up that guy's name if I got a hold of Howard's records, but because he doesn't get anything back at all. These people have lived rent-free for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have paid. He's got a house that, they've got a $200,000 house, and in 2 years the people haven't paid one mortgage payment at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said that we'd work something out, and Tori wasn't going after, you know, a quarter of it or a regular child support. She wanted at least half, because he was lying about what he had. He was lying about his assets. Well, further on in, I found that out. Okay. But anyways, he had these people that would threaten him and all, like Greg Massey was one of them that acts like he's his best friend on TV, which is hilarious because, you know, a lot of people know that that's not true. And that was one of the reasons why I was mad at Greg, because Greg acts like he's such a friend of his, but didn't even like him anymore because he took advantage of him. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to take advantage of him. I know it looks like that, and I know you think that I'm a horrible person, I'm just as bad as the rest, but what he acted like to me, he was very giving to me, and I loved him for that. He was very nice and very giving. He turned over that $1 million because he felt like he was going to lose it anyway. Okay. He wanted me to invest in... No, I want you to know that...
You are correct, Dee Dee. It does look bad, and it's incredulous how Shakespeare's money ended up in your accounts. His house in your name, what assets were left in your possession, and his body buried 6 feet under a cement slab on a property that you now own. Bad would be an understatement.
So you look at that...
Okay, we've looked at a lot of stuff in the last week, and they've looked at a lot of stuff in the last 10 months, okay? If that's your opinion of it, that's fine. Our opinion will probably be different, okay?
I know your
and that's neither
different.
here
but
nor there.
But
what I want to dig down to is how the man got killed and murdered on your property. Okay? So
well,
if you're telling me that, hang on a minute,
motive,
let me finish. If you're telling me he was very given to you, okay. so be it. He's
Yeah.
not gonna be able to come out and tell us
I
that
know
like we
that,
went
but
into
there-
last night.
But I will love to give you names so that you can look the people up that know the truth, that know that he was like that. I have no motive. I have no reason. I cared about that man.
Then how did he
I
get
had
killed? How and why?
Okay, Howard was on cocaine drugs. He was on crack. The guy was blackmailing with a crack photo of him. He had it in the top drawer of his desk. I don't know if it's still there. You can look at his office and see if it's still there.
Who, Stitzel's office?
Stitzel's office. Stitzel was doing all these transactions for us, doing all the paperwork and everything. I got upset because I didn't want all this in my name because I heard Tori was going to come after and sue me for trying to hide all his assets, okay? So I had, a disagreement there, whereas Howard says it's fine, when I go to buy that other house, just put it in Char's name. I was being directed, what to do to keep it safe by him. He's a lawyer. You trust him. You put your trust in a lawyer, you should, have the trust. And that's what a lawyer's supposed to do. He's supposed to look out for your best benefit. Even with, if it's a lawyer, he's supposed to look out for, not for himself. Well, Howard come to me and he kept wanting more money, and then he started coming to for money. I didn't know he was using it for drugs.
When
We
was
gave him a
Howard
20,000.
coming? When was Howard coming after for more money? Like what time of year and?
It's all in my checkbook. You'll see checks written out to Howard. Howard's got
From
20,000.
from your checking account, which is really money, like from
Right.
what bank? Which banking institution?
The Bank of America one. I can show you the check.
Is it the checks under one of your company names or under your name or what?
Like one of them's Shakespeare LLC.
Okay.
He got a $20,000 check.
And that was paid to Stitzel?
Yeah. Howard says, well, to protect me, we'll write up a loan thing, a loan paper saying it's, quote, a loan, Howard has a loan that he's paid back, but he never has the money paid back because he uses it all up. So I was thinking, how is he going through all this money? And I found out, me and got really upset with him. I went crying up to his office because really wanted Greg Massey sued. He was waiting and waiting for this man to be sued because...
By Stitzel?
Yes.
To draft up the paperwork?
Right, because he was supposed to sign this contract saying he owed $310,000. Greg refused. Greg says, I'm not paying you. Was really upset about that. He was very distraught, saying that, he feels like Greg took advantage of him. So Greg wanted me to start going over bank records at Wachovia and the other bank to see how many people stole from him, to see how much Greg had embezzled, because he felt like Greg embezzled, because as we went around checking with people, they were saying that Greg was getting cut off the top to get a loan for him. So like if you get a loan for $10,000, Greg would get, $1,000 or $2,000 paid back to him for getting the loan for you. Like, I'll get you a loan, but I'm going to take some of the money back. So when we found that out, felt like he was taken advantage of by Greg, and he wanted him in jail.
The truth is, Shakespeare was taken advantage of by some of his family members, his so-called friends, and even strangers, according to court documents. But make no mistake about it, Dee, no one else had access to his funds but you, and those family, friends, and hangers-on didn't murder him and disposed of him like he was nothing. The smoking gun is in your designer handbag.
By Greg, and he wanted him in jail, not just get in his house. He wanted him in jail if we could find any type of embezzlement by him. So we started researching, went up to the bank, got all the little things. That's why I have all the yellow slips and all that. And I talked to, was upset also about the other court cases that Howard was supposed to be taking. So I went up to Howard's office, and I was crying profusely. I went in there crying to him because he promised this man, and this man was upset and hurt that,
Do you remember when this was that you went into Howard's office and cried to him?
I don't know. You can look at my phone records. I had called him, and he wouldn't answer. There's a witness to that at that office. It was his old office on Alexander. There's a guy in the corner office to the left. I went and cried in his office. So this is
before Howard moved onto your property?
Right.
This is when he was on the old Alexander Street address?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's a guy that's in the left-hand corner office that'll say, I went in there crying to him. Well, when I was in there, I met Howard's drug dealer. He tells me about how he's went around there and threatened Howard. He'll break his kneecaps, he'll do this.
So this drug dealer starts telling you how he's threatening somebody.
Yeah, he tells me, he's got a strong arm man there, and he says, you know, with Howard, if he owes you anything,
Were they expecting you to come there, or you said you went there to basically
See
cry
Howard.
and plead
Right,
to Howard?
right.
So this drug dealer, it's safe to say this drug dealer wasn't expecting you coming in there.
No, he wasn't expecting me
So
there, but
why
I
would
met
this-
him.
So why would this drug dealer with his strong arm start just telling you all
Because
this
we were
criminal
talking
activity?
because we were talking about how Howard is, because he was telling me that he had a blackmail picture on Howard of smoking crack. He did. He said he had a picture of Howard with a crack pipe, and that he holds that over him, you know, because that could go out to the public. And he says, because he left me in jail. He says, I paid him money, and then he left me in jail and didn't get me out of jail right away.
Was Howard sitting there when all this stuff was being discussed?
No, no.
Where was he at?
Howard was nowhere to be found. We were waiting for him. So we sat there.
Just in the lobby of his office, or what?
Yeah, in the lobby of his office. His office, like when the door was actually open to the little sitting area where the desk is. So me and him were sitting there talking. I could look up that guy's name if I got a hold of Howard's records, but he's gray-headed. He's cleaned up. He used to have like shaggy looking, you know, crazy hair. But
Black male, white male,
he
what?
got arrested again and he had to shave and clean up.
See, a
He's
black male,
white.
white male?
White male.
So Howard's drug dealer is a white male that's cleaned up looking now.
Yeah, because he was, and I'm sure that's
How
not the
old?
only drug dealer friend he has. He's maybe in his 40s. Howard just recently got him out of jail again, saved him on a big jail charge.
All right, go
So,
on.
anyways, he saves him on the jail charge, and he's telling me all about this. Well, then I figure out where all the money's going, why Howard needs so much money all the time. He has sores all up his arms and down his legs, I guess, from the crack, what it does to your body. So I have an intervention with Howard, and I tell Howard, I'm going to have to drop him, I'm going to have to write to the board, the lawyers, and the Bar Association, and see if I can get him debarred if he doesn't do what he said he was going to do for Abraham. I mean, you don't do that to somebody. You took his money, we paid you for we paid him for all kinds of stuff for suing people, and he never even did anything with it. He didn't take them to court. So, waiting for these people to go to court, he's got checks for it and been paid for it. It started in Bird's office first. Bird got the case, and we wrote out checks to Bird first, and Howard didn't do nothing while it was in Bird's office. So, we go, and now I cry and cry, can't find him for 3 days.
Can't find Howard
Can't
for
find
3
him.
days. So when you went to his office where this drug dealer started just divulging all this information to you, and Howard's, or is it David Howard, or you call him Howard, or what?
I call him Howard.
In his waiting room or lobby, and, you know,
If
Howard's
you talk
nowhere
to
to
this
be
guy,
found.
he'll tell you the same thing. If you talk to this guy, he's real
So
open.
this drug dealer is just going to plainly tell us that he was there with his strong arm to basically get his money and find out why he was left in jail.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell us
he
that he
wasn't.
deals crack or whatever to Howard.
Well, no, he's probably not going to tell you that he deals crack. I'm sure, but you can find that out
All right,
by
so
his
going
record.
back, you didn't come across Howard for 3 days.
Yeah, and I found out why, because he was cracked out. He had went over the edge and had he on crack, and he had, you know, been on cocaine, and he was all messed up. So I talked to him and told him if he didn't straighten up, you know, we'd have to do something. Well, he promised me he, you know, was going to quit. I told him that, you know, I'd help him get rehab, I'd help him rehab, I would do whatever, you know, he needed, whatever he needed to get straight, I'd help him. But he continued to do the same thing. He'd come after us for more cases so that he could get more money, and he was going to get, you know, more stuff done, and he was going to start sending notices. He eventually sent a notice to Greg Massey. He eventually sent a letter to the Knights to foreclose. He did do, like, a couple of things he said he was going to do. You know,
This is
he
before
started,
he moved into the office on
Yeah,
your property?
yeah, he starts doing some of the stuff he's gone to.
Okay.
Well, then, when we start talking about moving in $1 million, tells people that he's having to give it to the IRS. I think he tells Poppy, I'm trying to think who else. He tells them that, you know, that his money's being taken because
so
he doesn't
the
want.
1.095 million.
Yeah, he tells Poppy.
Wait a minute. Was wanting to move and hire.
This is Dee Dee's segue to explaining how the remaining $1.2 million of Shakespeare's money ended up in her account.
Basically, from IRS, is it idea or Howard's idea?
Well, no, it was idea, but Howard, he wanted it too because he was going to lose it. They figured to Tori, because Tori knew about it. Everybody knew it was in that bank.
And was that like the last of his money left over?
Yeah, that was the last of what he had in any bank. So, because his other bank, the little $4,000, was frozen at the time. So, Howard wanted it moved, and Tori knew about that. So he started a rumor uptown, you know, so that it'd get around that he's losing it to the IRS taxes. What he does is he calls the place and has it moved over, has me start up the company LLC. So he can put it as an investment, you know, investing. For me doing that, right off the top, I can get $250,000. He keeps the third. I start cashing it out as he needs it for when he needs it for stuff. Plus, he wants me to find a business investment so that he can make cash so it doesn't show as money in the bank for Tori. Okay, so we have the paintball field and we have 3 offices to rent out. That way, he doesn't show his cash flow and he doesn't have anything in the bank to go after. So that's why I've always said, if anything, I can get charged with helping him avoid child support, because I did that. I mean, that is something I should be charged with. I helped him avoid child support, but child support wasn't bearing yet, you know, it wasn't there. And once I found out and talked to Tori more and more and seen how much he let her struggle, I liked Tori. I felt bad about what I had done. So I started taking it back. I started telling him I'm not going to lie in child support court, which he got upset about to me, but I couldn't let her do that. He let her be homeless almost. She got where she didn't have a home, and he wasn't giving her nothing. So I made sure she got a house. I put her in that house that she's in, and I got her a car so she'd have a way back and forth because she was walking. And I told her, you know, I couldn't do that.
And again, out of the goodness of your heart, like you said last night, you made that comment.
Take note of Dee Dee's narcissism, inserting her self-importance, her grandiose sense of self, arrogance, sense of entitlement, and disregard for others. The truth is, you weren't helping Tori at all. It wasn't even your money, Dee Dee. This is just bad acting.
You're putting her up and taking care of her financially now.
Well, I was taking care of her, whatever she needed, just necessities, until it went to court. That's what I was doing.
A house and a car?
Well, yeah, but the house wasn't paid for. The house was rental. So I would make the rent payments. Like, I went with her to get the mortgage and all. I did all that with her. So I got the mortgage, and I told her when it comes to child support court, I wouldn't lie. I would turn over the Knight's house. You hear that in my conversation with the other stuff. But I turn over the Knight's house, and I told her she can have anything she wants because I know what happened. I know what he did, and I felt bad about it, you know. I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her she can have the Knight's house, whatever I needed to sign over. I told her I would tell the courts everything when we went to court, and that I'll you know, if I can be charged with that, then I'll be charged with helping him avoid child support. So, got the money moved over now, and he tells me $250,000, so I go buy my Hummer, because we're riding around the black Hummer. I have a black Hummer at the time, and he likes to ride around nice, and I ride him around, and so does Judy. So, and then I have about $100,000 that came in from Real Time. You can see my business part. And so really, however you want to say the vet was bought, but it was bought from that money, but I had $100,000 of my own money in there too. At the time, Real Time, you can see my checks going in the bank in January. So I didn't spend it all, and I left it in the bank. And then we got another letter. You know, we knew, I had talked to Tori, and Tori was telling me that, you know, people were telling her to come after me because I took over his bad debts and he did them to hide them and everything else. So we start getting worried about that. So that's when we separate the money and we put it in a stack, you know, other companies, and that was at the
And that
suggestion.
that A-stat is under Shard?
Right, and that was at the suggestion of Howard, you know, so that it's a third party. If I give it to them as a gift, donate it to that company, then she cannot come after it. So I donated it to that company, so she couldn't come after
The
it.
A-stat.
Right. So donate it so that she can't come after that money, and it's free and clear. And it's gonna be a paintball field for the kids to use. But in actuality, gonna make money off of that. You know, he'll get the cash flow from it.
What Dee Dee is attempting to do here is to minimize her involvement in the murder by only admitting to assisting Shakespeare in hiding his assets to avoid paying child support. But this is much bigger than tax evasion. This is the cold-blooded murder of someone who she called a friend, someone who she says was kind and endearing.
You want me to wait till he comes back in?
No, you can go.
What do you want to see if you can find that water?
Yeah, in a minute. Let me wait till he gets back.
Okay.
All right.
I'm telling you, I wanted you to know everything, the whole story.
Well, I do want to know everything, and like I said, we over the past week we have a pretty good gauge of what exactly happened, but it depends on you to make things right and come clean with everything.
I am.
Okay,
The
and
only reason-
if at the end of this conversation you're wasting my Saturday
No.
afternoon with another freaking lie, I'm gonna be pissed.
No,
Okay?
I'm not. I
Because, you know, with you coming clean with your involvement and what exactly had transpired to the point of how Abraham was killed and buried on your property, you know, I'm not a deal maker. I don't have that authority and power,
But you help
okay? What I document as far as being the truth and what you attest to, you know, and it's valid, it's truthful, it can be proven. It may help you out at some shape or form in the long run, but I can't make you any promises. You know, I'm just the detective. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not an attorney that makes those decisions and deals when it all comes down to it.
Right.
But as we discussed many times last night, you
Yeah,
know,
but-
what is a jury gonna think when they start seeing all the lengthy investigation laid out to them? And all the documentation, and wait a minute, when they see these videos of these interviews and they hear it from your mouth personally,
I
then
know,
that
but I
is
was
what's going to
scared.
push them over the edge, or that's what's gonna make them believe or not believe what you're telling them.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and so far, all along, everything has been bullshit.
Scared. I was really scared.
So who are
This
you
man-
scared of?
This man has told me.
This
that-
man who? This man who?
Well,
This
I
man
told- Let me finish it. This man has told me, I'll do it when Wallace, because I'm gonna have to repeat it off for him, instead of repeating it twice.
I can back film in, that's fine. Finish out your financial,
Okay,
dissertation here, because he,
Okay.
you know, he and his squad have pretty much
Okay.
uncovered a lot of information that they
Okay.
pretty much know every minute detail of.
Okay, so anyway, so we go and he's gonna make income from the three offices.
Gonna make income from
Right, from the 3 offices, so that way, if he ever needs it in the future, because he's got enough to live off of. He's a dollar store man, but, you know, we figured we'd do it as a joint venture. He told me we'd do it 50-50, so whatever, he'd get half and I'd get half. Whatever he needed, as long as I helped him out and gave it to him, because he felt like he's gonna lose everything, because every time he turned around, he was getting in a lawsuit, or people would threaten to sue him. So, I went ahead and did that, and, he felt like Howard had taken advantage of him, because all this stuff hadn't come to light, and he wanted to do these out of, he didn't care about the money. He's just a very giving man. He gave away $11 million before I even stepped in the picture. He literally gave one man $1 million. He does not care.
Is that Poppy guy?
No. Poppy got a loan for $1 million, but he gave Big Man $1 million too. And he gave Big Man's daughter $250,000.
Is that his uncle or something, Big Man?
No, wasn't a relative, just somebody that helped raise him.
Yeah.
So, he did all of this stuff before all these people stepped in the picture. I cared about that man. I wouldn't have, there's a couple things in your statements that y'all make for premeditated or whatever you said. First of all, he had a car that we had just recently bought. If I was gonna hurt him, I wouldn't go buy a Lincoln car. I paid his insurance like just 2 days before anything even happened. 2 days, I paid a full insurance of $700 and something. That you can look up. I wouldn't have had Judy there waiting for me at the Hard Rock if we weren't gonna go to the Hard Rock. I wouldn't have a reserve.
Yeah, but wait, let me time out a minute, Dee Dee. That's just, you can look at, you can explain it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But an outside source looking in, a jury member, can interpret it as you're just feeding the plot here. You're conspiring even more to help your cause in making this person disappear. And then the big scheme of things, with the amount of money that's being put here, put there, spent there. I mean, those aren't large quantities of money to spend and pay his insurance or whatnot. That's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to go out and buy a $50,000-$60,000 Lincoln MKS or something. And then the sheer fact of setting up whatever a meeting at the Hard Rock to go there and have some fun and whatnot, and then concoct a story that you gave Judy at 2:15 that morning. Again, in my view, and in probably a jury member's view, premeditation, setting up the whole charade. But, having said that, please carry on.
Okay. I wouldn't have paid his insurance 2 days prior to that if I
Why
was going to
not?
hurt the man.
Why not?
$700 and something. Why do that if I'm going to off him? You know, why would I? Oh, his insurance, he'll never know. It's not paid. I paid his insurance. I had Judy was meeting us at the Hard Rock. We were really going to go out that night. I think I have a reservation at the Hard Rock, a hotel stay, if you can look to see if we reserved a hotel, because I was going to reserve a hotel. I don't remember if I was going to do it when I got there, if I got that one that time, because we went to Hard Rock a lot. I did that. That's the loader that you keep talking about, premeditated. Had in with that loader. He wanted me to go to that. He wanted me to go to that auction. He said to buy Tyrone Hunt a car, buy a car, okay, and go ahead and see if I can see any equipment that would help with the paintball field for the Army field, because we were spending a lot of money with James having to get that place graded out. We paid a lot for the orange trees to be removed, and then we constantly were having to have him come over there and move stuff, plus we needed all those palm trees moved. Those palm trees were moved down by the side of the house, so I thought it'd be cheaper just to have, you know, my own piece. So he's like, see if you can see something reasonable there, go ahead and get it if there's something good there. And so I did. There was a backhoe there that was decent.
So told you to go buy something at this?
Yeah,
auction?
yeah, he said, you know, see if you can find something for the paintball field. That way you won't have that problem and we won't be putting out all this cash, because it was like, I think it was like $3,000 I paid to get the place leveled, orange trees, all that
so
stuff.
why not throw a few bucks towards some of the farmers that live around there that already have all that equipment to come and do that for you?
Because
I mean, y'all are neighbors and stuff.
I know that. Well, we were. I had Farkas do some of it. Farkas did the back work. He did some of it, but we wanted something that would move stuff. Like if we wanted to make a dugout, or if we wanted to make a, you know, part of the paintball field, we were going to...
A place to bury a body, that kind of thing?
No, that's not why. I could have had Farkas do that by telling him I needed a hole. I could have had James bring over a piece of equipment. I don't intentionally have to have a piece of equipment to do that. That was not the reason. Yeah.
Purchase a piece of equipment for purposes of your all's business.
Yeah. So we went and I purchased that, and because I knew I needed those palm trees moved and all that. There was palm trees on the wrong side of the property. We wanted them moved. I come back from the auction, got his car, Tyrone got his. We were doing all this, getting the paintball field ready so that, you know, it would be nice. And then there was, what else did we do prior to that? I paid the insurance. I did all that. There was plenty of money still in the bank.
What time frame are we looking at? Can you
right
recall?
In that time,
But from your own memory, can you recall these dates? Do you know what month it was at this time?
All I have to do is look it up. I have receipts and bank statements and stuff, so I can look all that up. But all of that was done, and the whole time I'm doing stuff like I went and got his broke finger fixed. I did stuff for him all the time. When he
I have
called
no
at 2
doubt
o'clock in
you,
the
I have
morning,
no
I did
doubt you did
whatever he
things for him.
wanted.
I have no doubt in that. I don't think Detective
And-
Wallace has a doubt that you did
Yeah,
things for
and
him.
he knew everything that was going on. He wasn't illiterate to that. I mean, people can say he's illiterate. He knew what his money does, and he doesn't
Well,
care.
that's what
when
we're
it-
starting to surmise, is that, yeah, he was starting to get a little edgy because he's having problems getting some of that money in the last few months, and who pretty much has control over it, Dee Dee?
He wasn't having problems. I would write out checks to people he wanted loans for. I wrote a check out to Mary Crawford for $30,000 to a bar he wanted to give a loan out. The only one I refused was the 2 drug ones. I refused the watermelon guy, Babe Ruth, because he wanted to transport drugs in that. I refused the other one because it was a drug thing. I didn't want any part of that. If he wants to do that, do it with, something that he's got out of the bank. I didn't want to do it with that and get in trouble and get in this big drug deal thing like he did. He did loan sharking. He did that Clarence West and Freddie West. That was a big drug dealer that got caught with his money, and they had started investigating that, and they were trying to put on that because he's the one that loaned him the money. I didn't want to be a part of that.
Here's what's so hard to believe, okay?
What?
You talk about, I got this money and this. You spent $10 to every $1 of his money on you or Shar. For every time you say, well, you look at what the money I got out. Okay, well, you got $5,000 here.
I didn't.
There's no documentation as to where that money went, if it actually went to. You gotta take your word for it that you gave $10,000. But then, hang on. But then you go deeper, and like I said, your expenditures were 10 or 20 to 1 compared to what the pittance amount that you're saying went to. So it's very hard, not only for us, it'd be very hard for anybody to sit here and look at the things and go, okay, here's this lady who got the Corvettes, got the houses in her name, got the this, and then you're going, but business we're going to invest in, and blah, 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 and what makes it really hard to believe is the lengths and the things that you did to after April 6th to cover up that he was, or to make it still look like he was alive, and then once it was looking like he wasn't alive,
well, I'm
to
going to
start
explain
proving
that.
it
I'm going
other.
to explain that part. I'm going to explain why I did the link thing. So anyway, all of the money stuff said, I don't know, he'll probably take that back, but he promised that he would not lie in court on that. He knew what he did with his money. He knew he didn't care about that. So if he will stand up and tell the truth on that, the money is not an issue because his own cousin even knew. His other cousin knew. They knew what he was doing with me.
Okay,
well,
but here's the problem. Is a criminal who is completely unreliable and untruthful.
Okay.
I mean, we're looking at facts here, and
Okay.
that's it.
I know
not a fact.
I know. That's why I did so much cover-up, because I was scared, because I know it's
Okay,
gonna look bad.
keep
Okay, anyway, so I went ahead and we did the paintball, we got everything going there. I was supposed to meet Judy at Hard Rock. We're gonna go over there and we're gonna have some fun and we're gonna play slots. But
Hang on.
2 days
Have you
before
all
that-
even rented out that paintball field? Have you even collected any money from customers
No.
on that thing? Have you
No.
used any of that equipment
No.
before?
No, mm-mm.
And how long have you had it set up out there?
A while, but just because once I got to meet, because that paintball field was my idea, I had already bought that stuff. I think I bought that before I can't remember.
I was gonna say, you
Yeah,
didn't
that was
invest
mine.
his money in that, you did that
No,
before.
but he invested the $250,000 he put over there to make it look like he's investing in the kids, because we're gonna build more fields. I already had the idea, that was on mine, but he wanted more, he was gonna do more fields with me to be a partner. He was gonna do the Army tanks, we were gonna have Army helicopters out there and do barracks on the back half. That's why we got the back half cleared. The other 5 acres out back,
Okay,
all the way out.
go on.
So anyway, so Judy says we're gonna go do that. Well, she
No,
had
was
just,
that you that said that, or Judy said that? You made the plans to go to the Hard Rock.
well, I made the plans, but I was gonna meet Judy over there, but we had to stop by the office first, because Howard had some papers we needed to sign. We had signed papers, on the 2 days prior to that, I guess. We had signed those other papers, the power of attorney and all that stuff. had already moved some of his stuff over there. It to the office. It was in a trailer. He had already moved his stuff over there. Baber went and got some of his stuff out of the trailer before anything ever happened. He was already keeping some of his stuff at the office. If you ask anybody, ask Baber. Baber can tell you, I think he goes by Pat or whatever. Pat can tell you he came around twice with at the office and got stuff out, packed boxes. So that guy that moved the final stuff out of the house, that wasn't all of it, because had already moved some of his stuff over there. He was coming by and getting it when he needed it.
Keep going.
So, I went ahead and we knew that we were supposed to meet Howard there.
Howard where? At the office or at the Hard Rock?
At the office. We had some paperwork that needed to be signed. And he had told me that we didn't even call him because he had told me just to meet him. I was like probably an hour late from meeting him because...
Meeting who? Howard?
Howard. Because, I was about an hour late for meeting Howard. But, and I were supposed to go straight from there, sign the papers, and then go straight to Hard Rock. And, meet Judy. And we had reservations. I would not premeditate. I had no reason to kill the man. I'd have no benefit from it. I already had everything he had, and he did not give a shit. He
and
really didn't.
What date was this, that you went to the Hard Rock that you didn't show up?
That's the date that...
April 6th?
Yeah.
2009?
Yeah, and Judy, you said you looked up, Judy's on the slots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So did you meet with Howard Stitzel at all?
Yeah, we went to the office and...
Howard's office?
No, my office on 60.
All right, and which house?
And that's...
The one in the red brick house?
Yeah, because Howard moved over to the red brick house first.
Right.
When he moved from
He was
Alexander.
there for about a month until the two-story was done renovating.
Right.
So when you went back there April 6th to your office in the single-story red brick house, 5732 Highway 60, Plant City, Florida, was Howard already in the house next door in the two-story?
He was in the red brick home.
So his office was in there where your office was?
Right. He's in the red brick home, and he's sitting in my office.
Howard's sitting in your office?
Yeah, with another gentleman.
All right, who's this other gentleman?
One of his friends. I don't know his name, I honestly don't. I can identify him if I have pictures, but I don't know his name. But Howard is in there with him. We go to sign the papers, and sitting on the round couch has me open up the safe to put those 4 guns in it that he had gave me.
Where was
because
the
he didn't
safe
want
at then?
The safe was in the corner, like...
In your office?
Yeah. Here's the couch, and the safe's over here, and it's in the corner like this.
By where your desk is?
No, my desk is down this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the window side, like if you're looking, there's the fireplace.
Where that TV was?
Right, and it's kind of catty-cornered. And you can look up the delivery date of the safe. The safe was originally put in that office.
Where did you move the safe?
I moved the safe to the Lakeland home afterwards. I moved it to the Lakeland home later, and you can look up the lock and, what is it? Something lock and safe or something, locking or whatever.
So they physically moved it to your Lakeland. Is it a big safe that, you would have to
jack
somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They have to jack it up and move it. So we meet him there. And Howard is really cocaine down. He is high as a kite. He takes marijuana too, and he is cracked out of his head. Him and get an argument about him not taking Greg Massey to court yet. He gets an argument about not doing all the stuff he says, telling him that, he wants to go ahead and get a different lawyer, and Howard needs to pay him back all that money he's given him.
Starts confronting him on his
Right.
services so far,
Right.
provided by Howard Stitzel.
Right. And wants all the money back, or he's going to get him for basically embezzlement or whatever, taking stuff that, he didn't do any work for. He took a bunch of money.
Was And at this point, would you say to go there and start confronting him, or did he just think of it on his own, I want my money back, I'm gonna go get another attorney, just because he saw Howard sitting there?
I think his intention, he had been wanting to talk to him anyways about it, because we were, you know, you can ask Judy about that. He had wanted to talk to him about it because he had not been doing what he said. Every time we turned around, he would go through these fits of he's normal, and then he would crack out and be on cocaine 3 or 4 days at a spurt, and then he'd show up again in our life.
All right,
Like,
the bottom line is,
so,
confronts him about getting his money
Right.
back and going, seeking other counsel.
right. Gets his money back, seeking other counsel, and he's going to get someone else to represent him. Then Howard starts threatening him that he's got the Michael Ford case coming up, he'll end up losing it, and is why everything's out of my name. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't matter at this point. He can't get anything. And so Howard, you know, tries to convince him, you know, he'll do better, he'll do it like he always does. He's really good at talking.
Mm-hmm.
And he convinces him, you know, tries to convince him that, you know, don't do that and stuff. And so then I start threatening about the board again. I'm like, you know, I can get you debarred for what you've done to him. And all this money, every time we turn around, you need more and more and more. You say that you have to put some in reserve. He was supposed to put some money in reserve, and he spent it. You know how you put it in the, where you're not allowed to touch it?
Mm-hmm.
He puts it in that, and he touches it. And he calls me up to replace the money before he gets caught touching it, so that he doesn't get caught touching that money. So, and we're discussing about that. Then he goes into the Tory, and I, you know, tell him, you know, of course I'm not going to lie in child support court. Tori's going to get something. She's going to get the house and some other stuff, and so Howard starts arguing about that, you know, with him, and they're discussing back and forth, and then the Greg Massey comes up. That's the biggest issue, and they're arguing about that, and he feels like Howard's taken advantage of him, and Howard's used him for all this money and kept coming after him for money,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting more and not doing anything. So then Howard threatened that he's going to, I had already was going to call the whistleblower on.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing you can check with Judy about. I had, when that $1 million got over
Go on with the
in my
story.
account,
Yeah,
well,
just
when
stay
the-
on track
okay,
with the-
well, when the $1 million got over my account, I had planned on calling whistleblowers and getting a third of it anyways. And Howard's the one that talked me out of that. He says, that's pretty mean. You're trying to help the man, but you're going to turn him in for tax evasion. And I said, yeah, but he did.
Keep the skim off the top, basically, your cut of it.
Yeah, because I was going to get my third.
All right, so go back to this issue with Howard in your office with.
Right, so he says that he's going to turn him in for that and everything else if he does that, kind of like blackmailing him. He's like, you know what, you'll go to jail. You're going to go to jail for, if you turn me into the bar, you're going to go to jail for, you know, tax evasion
Mm-hmm.
and money laundering and bringing up all of it.
Okay.
So that's when out the gun, and
What gun did he bring in?
he brought out a 9mm. Greg Smith owns that now. Greg Smith has got that. His wife got it for.
At this juncture, Dee Dee is now pointing the finger at some phantom henchman as the person who killed Shakespeare, while she and the attorney are left unharmed as witnesses. She says there's little to no blood, and Abraham appears okay.
What do you call it? A police officer. So Greg Smith has that gun. Anyways, he brings out that gun and he goes to fire it. He didn't have.
Pulls out a gun
Yeah.
and goes to shoot Howard Stitzel?
Yes, and.
Where was Howard Stitzel in your office?
Howard was where I kept saying the drug dealer was, because I kept trying to get away with using the drug dealer.
All right, let me get a gauge of it. All right, your office is basically rectangular, okay?
Mhm.
If I remember correctly, your desk kind of faced this way, and you had like
Mhm.
some other furniture here. You had like the little curved
Mhm.
couch chair thing in the
Mhm.
corner, and this was a walkway into the kitchen over here.
Mhm.
There was a fireplace here,
Mhm.
all right, and then there was a window here,
Mhm.
right? And then there was another table or something with a flat screen TV.
Right. The safe is here at this time.
Okay.
That's not there, it's moved over some.
Mhm.
This is the safe. There's a chair here, and Howard's about right there. And the door to the safe is open.
All right, so Howard is standing or sitting?
That Howard's standing up.
And is anybody, where's this other guy, his henchman, drug dealer guy or whatever?
He's over here.
Like in the
Just
kitchen
standing.
area?
Yeah, just
kitchen
standing
area?
there.
Was your
Yeah.
kitchen finished at the time?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
All right,
So.
so yeah, probably so,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So you got the other guy was Stitzel standing over here,
Mhm.
and you're what, behind your desk?
Yeah, I'm behind over here. I'm
Okay,
standing
now
there.
where's on this chair?
Yeah, on this chair,
So he
sitting
gets
down.
up and pulls a gun, a
No.
9mm.
Pulls it sitting down. He grabs around for his back, and he's sitting down. He is like this, and he's sitting down and pulls a gun.
Okay, what'd Stitzel do?
Stitzel, when he fired, Stitzel's like really coked out. And I had my gun. There's a 4 things right up there. It has like 4 things in that.
Little,
Right, where you
like
can
a
just.
little gun safe?
Yeah, but where you can get to the guns. And had another gun right beside him. He had one of those rifle things that we had already took out of the safe. We were putting it back in. And that gun was right there. It was a .38, the one y'all have. Howard reaches around there and gets that. That is loaded. It's
Gets
got
what?
The .38.
And where was it again?
It,
Show me on here.
okay,
If Howard's here, we're in relation in this room.
we're right here at the safe. Howard's right here. He reaches for the gun.
Alright, so on the door of the safe you have like little shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me the .38's on one of those shelves or?
Well, it's not a shelf. It's like an insert, like a
Okay,
pocket.
to hang
Right.
pistols on the
Right.
door, inside door of a safe.
Right, inside
Alright,
door.
okay.
So
Go
he,
ahead and sit down.
okay, so he pulls that out, and he fires at him.
At who? So, take me back. He goes and pulls a gun. Does he try to shoot it at Stitzel?
Yes, he does.
What's it, malfunction or what? Or
No,
was it
he didn't
loaded,
put
or
one.
what?
No, he didn't put one in the chamber. You know how you pull a gun back to put one in the chamber?
He didn't lock the slide back in chamber
Right.
around, but he had a magazine in it with bullets in it?
Yeah, he didn't like pull right. Not a kind of. I didn't even think he would do something like that. I think he was just mad, like, you know what I mean. Money just been
All right,
like
so-
pulled up.
So he fires at Stitzel. Stitzel has the opportunity because your safe happens to be open with a loaded .38, and he reaches back and grabs a .38.
Yeah. Well, all the
And
safes
what?
open. There's a lot of loaded guns in there. So he reaches back in and shoots once, and then I don't think the other shot. I don't know if it hit him or not. I don't know. So
Stitzel, from what you were telling me, fires 2 shots, but you think one hits.
yeah. So
Where on hit him?
I'm not sure. I was told that it was up in the right shoulder.
What do you mean told?
But
I mean,
because
you were there.
Yeah, but you didn't see any blood. He had a black jacket on, and you didn't see any blood. Got right up when it happened. Like that. He didn't fall back. He didn't. He got right up. Like as soon as it happened, he stands up. He didn't like fall over, slump over, dead. He's still talking. He's still coherent.
All right. So if he's talking, what's he saying?
He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's what he does. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
What's Stitzel
Well,
saying?
I'm grabbing my phone and I'm dialing up.
What's Stitzel or what's he saying or doing?
Stitzel's like in a daze. He's sitting there going, what the fuck just happened?
And what's this other guy standing in the kitchen area?
He's paying attention to me calling 911. I'm going to call 911. He's running around the desk to me. He's got a gun on him. He holds it up to me to stop. Stitzel looks at him and says, no, I need her. Because I thought he was going to shoot me. And Stitzel says, no, I need her. And he doesn't shoot me. I don't call 911. I'm dialing 911.
So you think this guy's going to come over and whack you or kill you?
Right.
And Stitzel's like, no, I need to keep her around
Right.
or something.
Yeah, he's like, no, I need her. So, walks out with this guy, and he tells Howard, you need to get out of here, man. You need to get out of here. I'll take care of everything. You need to get out of here. Tells Howard that. I say, Howard, can I call you? And I'm talking to him.
So this guy, this bodyguard henchman drug dealer
Yeah.
tells Howard, you need to get out of here.
Yeah, you need to get out of here. right now. And
And what's doing at this time?
like, he's like, is it real, you know what I mean? He was talking
So
there for me, he's like,
he just took a round
Yeah.
like somewhere on his body, and he's sitting there like, hey,
yeah,
wow.
no, well, it takes 2 seconds. He's like, stands up and acts normal, like, you know what I mean, for a second. And he goes off with this guy, and this guy and him are going through the door, and he's telling Howard to just get out of here, get out
So
of here.
this guy basically escorts.
Yeah.
Where?
He's going into the other room, into the kitchen. He's just standing, they're going into the kitchen where I can't see what's going on. I'm talking to Howard, and I'm like, Howard, I got a call. And he's like, listen, you call. He says, everything's going to fall back on you. You have all that shit in your name. You're going to get in trouble for this, and I'm going to say you did it.
So,
He's like,
so a guy under the influence of what you're saying is cocaine and marijuana
yeah,
is all of
like,
a sudden having moments of clarity and,
he's no lawyer.
and processing quickly.
Oh,
he just
no,
allegedly shot somebody
no,
about
he-
how it's all
he-
going to come back on
No,
you.
he said that, he's like, you know, Didi, you just, we'll take care of this. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. We'll take care of it. He's like, you know, this will come back on you. We'll take care of it. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. And he's like freaking out. He's flipping out. And I'm flipping out for what just happened. So I go back into the blue room, like I said. I'm in
The
the
room
blue
in the back
Yeah.
where there was a bed, I think bedroom furniture.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
was staying in that room?
Nobody at the time. I go back out and I sit in the blue room, and this guy's supposed to be taking care of it. You know, he'll take care of it. So I'm thinking he's going to go get Abraham help, and be okay. And I stay in the blue room for a long period of time, just waiting to hear anything. Howard, I guess, has left at this point from there. And he just tells me they'll take care of it, he'll be fine.
What, they leave in a car, they leave outside,
Howard,
what?
No, Howard and him came in a car together. Howard left in a car, but Howard left him there carless. That guy did not have a car.
So he's
He
still
said-
on your property?
He's still on my property. And I say, Howard, can I call you? And he's like, I don't have my cell phone with me. So
All right, let me
Howard
ask you
didn't have a
something
cell
real
phone.
quick. Hang on. This guy so Howard takes off,
Mhm.
and this unknown guy escorts out of that room. Into which room did he go into with him after he was shot? When he's saying, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of this. Where?
He goes out into the kitchen, and then they go out to the garage, and there's a room right there.
Like another office?
yeah,
Is that your
like
paintball office?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he takes in that room or just out in the garage?
Well, just out in the garage. I don't know if he's taken him into the paintball office.
And is
He
this
was out
guy
there.
a white guy, black guy, Hispanic guy, what?
He was a white guy.
Any other descriptions of him?
He just looked like a regular average height. Trying to think of any descriptive, no tattoos, I don't remember anything, you know, tattoo-wise, or medium build, a lot smaller than you, not a real big man or anything. He wasn't real big.
About how old?
Probably in his 40s, or so.
And you'd never met him before? Have you ever seen him on Stitzel's office property or anything before?
Mm-mm.
Alright, so you're back in the blue room, and what happens?
So I'm back in the blue room, and I wait there forever. This guy's telling me he's gonna get a guy to come pick the and get help. So he's got 2 guys on the way to go
So
get
he told you he's having somebody come to get him help?
no,
The unknown guy.
Yeah, when I peeked my head out there in the kitchen, I'm like,
So is it
okay?
evident have been shot at this point?
Well, he has a black jacket on, so I didn't see, like, him bleeding or anything. I didn't see, like, blood, and he got up like this, and I didn't, like, see blood, but I thought that I seen just a little, like, go on the carpet, but he wasn't, like, profusely bleeding everywhere or anything. It was, like, you know, in a daze. But I know that I was, like, in a daze myself. I couldn't believe what had just happened. So the guy tells me, you know, he's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
He'll take care of it. So he's in there, and I eventually go and just tell him, I gotta go. I couldn't handle, you know, eventually I stay there, I sleep, I go to bed. I'm waiting for them to leave and get help and everything, and I lay down and I'm just miserable, and I'm hoping Howard will come back and talk to me or something. And I'm scared to do anything, because I'm scared to go in the other room. I don't even want to know what's going on and what's happening and who he has coming. So I just lay there, and I lay there in bed. And the next morning, I get up and I leave, and I go about my business. I go over to the house, I do stuff.
So what time of night was this that this was occurring? So you basically just go into this
I
blue room in
I
the back.
talked to Judy about 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
So did this happen right before?
No, it happened before.
A while before?
Yeah, a while before. I talked
So why
to
at
Judy.
2 o'clock in the morning, why do you give Judy some other bullshit story about what happened? Why don't you just tell her what happened?
Because I was told that they would hurt me. I was told that to just, I thought he was going to be okay.
So you thought it'd be better just to say that, Abraham got into
Yeah.
some type of sexual issue
Yeah.
with an underage person,
Right.
and somebody
Right.
got hurt or something,
Right.
and you sent Judy
Right.
to some hospital to follow up with this girl
No,
or something.
that was a different day. That time, the time he choked somebody, that was a different day. That wasn't that day.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Detective Wallace,
Oh.
but that was the same 2:15
Oh, was that
phone
one
call.
the?
It was 3 o'clock in the
Oh, okay.
morning.
Okay. Well,
All right,
anyway.
we'll carry on with this now.
Anyways, so we go in, and I come back the next day, and I don't see anywhere. Not in the house.
So when he was being escorted out to the garage, you didn't hear him say, "Oh, call me an ambulance, help me,"
No.
anything like that?
Nope.
And
Nope.
you just go in the blue room and you're frustrated or flustered that this has just happened. What am I to do? I'm just gonna lay here and go to bed. No, seriously. I mean, that's what it
Yeah.
sounded like. So you.
No, I was.
So did you fall asleep?
I was.
You fall asleep there because you said you
Well, I
woke up the
didn't.
next morning.
Yeah, well, I was not sleep. I was just sitting there, laying there, didn't know what to do.
So for the rest of the night until the sun comes up and
Just
the
hoping that
roosters
everything
start
will go
crowing,
away
you're
and
gonna then
right.
kind of walk out and
Right.
see what's going on. So what time do you think you finally left the blue room and walked out the next morning to the rest of the property or
There
that
was
house?
There was nothing there. I didn't see nobody.
Nobody was
nothing.
there. No.
I thought
you know,
that everything was okay.
No blood smeared everywhere.
No blood, no nothing. No blood anywhere like that. And then I go in